Good morning, December 11th. Beautiful day already. It's about 50 degrees, spotty showers, cloudy, yada yada yada. Yeah. Um, I thought I'd take a minute and talk about leaving the rat race and how Julie and I did it. And it's really, I think I've tried to make it more complicated than what it really is. I've made a couple videos trying to explain it, and they get to be ridiculously long and everything. So I'm gonna try to be short and sweet with this. Um, we knew early on in our relationship, 2003, 4, 5, that at some point in our lives we wanted to be together and be in the country, um, not be beholden to the man working 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week. We just wanted to escape that lifestyle and be a little more self-sufficient and a little more self-reliant. So we started coming up with a plan early on how to do that. And like everything in life, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I'm just going to tell you how we did it, that's all. So with that in mind, Julie and I really set out to first make our financial situation as comfortable as possible, to give us as many options as possible, obviously. And real estate really seemed to work for us. I had a decent understanding of it. I had a lot of interest in it. So did Julia. We had friends that were doing it, and it just seemed like a natural way to go, and a really good course to get yourself out of that rat race and working for the man. You take the opportunity to work for yourself, set your own time and hours and whatnot. And that's what we did. And it was a gradual process. We bought one house, and we rented out half of it. It was a duplex. We rented out half and we lived in half. And then we bought a second house and we rented out both of those units. And then when we moved out of the first one, we had 4 total units to rent out. And at that point, we were really making some money, and the likelihood that we were going to be able to break free really began to show. Now, even though we were making a decent amount of income from the rental properties, we had always continued to slash our spending, do away with long-term contracts, pay off unnecessary debt and expensive debt. And by that I mean, your credit cards and things like that are up in the 20s percent range. Those are bad. You got to get them paid down and paid off. I have a son, and I was paying child support, and we knew that we weren't going to do much as far as leaving the rat race and stuff until I had that paid up and paid off. When Jacob became an adult, which was 20 years old. So, things like that you got to keep in mind. They're not necessarily roadblocks, but get those high priority items taken care of earlier on. Don't let them sit until things are starting to move, and then try to worry about them, because then it'll probably be a little bit too late. So. I should say that from the time Julie and I really put pencil to paper and created our plan to the time we actually executed a portion of it was 9 years. We may have done it faster. We certainly could have done it slower. We did it at a pace that allowed us really just to sustain our lifestyle, our meager lifestyle. And we did it without haste. And I mean, anytime we had extra money, it went to the cause, you know, it went to paying the bill down. It went to research any land or properties, or traveling to Maine to look at properties. Um, yeah, so that was some time, 9 years, you know, and the whole bit of that 9 years, you're executing that plan of reducing your debt, and just doing research on the topic and doing research on your investment type strategy, you know. This was how we did it. So the first move was really just a portion of our dream. We were moving from Western New York to Maine, and it was to facilitate a portion of the dream, which was hopefully building on a land that we had there. So, you know, allow yourself the time to succeed. Don't set up these arbitrary deadlines and stuff, and they just mean nothing, or you didn't put any thought into how long the task could take or anything. Give yourself every effort to succeed. Don't pigeonhole yourself, you know. Don't get so caught up about getting something complete in a week that you screw it up when you could have took 2 weeks and got it perfect. You know, you're talking about the rest of your life, right? So put in the work, and you know, I'm certain you'll see the results. So 9 years of planning and prepping and paying bills off, and you know, doing the little things that I think, you know, folks may not consider. You know, if you're really trying to leave the rat race, it's going to come down to pennies. That's how close it's going to be, at least in my experience, you know. So really tighten up your ship during that time. When Julie and I finally felt that we had accomplished really close to what we set out to do, our objective in the beginning was to live in the country, live a self-sustainable type lifestyle as best we could, employed by ourselves, or managing the farm, making money off of that, homeschool our kids. It was a lot of personal things that we really believed in, that not only we thought created a better lifestyle, but also I think it prepares our children for a real future, you know. So we were committed, and we were really willing to go the distance, you know, for these things. So yeah, 15 years. I mean, it's a decent amount of time. In that 15 years, we would save every penny we could. We didn't have cable. We didn't have cell phones for a long time. We just at every turn we would cut out the excess, and you know, it pays off in the end. It teaches you to live within your means, really, and you know, it really prepares you for the future, because if you're gonna do this, I can't stress enough on how often you're gonna have to do stuff for yourself. And I'll give you a great example. I can do a pretty decent job fixing a toilet, putting in a toilet and replacing the valve. I actually just had to do that a few weeks back. And I can do it for cost, whatever the materials are. My labor's free. It's my home, right? So put that against calling up a plumber and paying them to put it in. You know, it's going to be the cost of the materials, and then probably another 2/3, you know, or if not half, a half to 2/3, you know. And think of how many times that happens throughout the year with your car breaking down, or your. I'll give you all the examples that I've dealt with. So tractor issues, drive shaft falling off, having to replace drive shaft and U joints. That's on me, man. I take it to John Deere, I'm gonna be paying thousands of dollars. Trust me, I know I've already done it. But if I buy the parts and do it myself, I save a lot of money. Wiring up my trailer, I could, put that out to someone and pay a few $100s, or I can go buy the lights at Home Depot for $25 and do it myself. And I wouldn't be so foolish to believe that my work is any better than anybody else's, but oftentimes I'm just as content with the work that I've done that I would be with a professional. And the example would be that toilet. I mean, there was nothing special about it. Took the damn thing out, you know, um, replace the wax ring and everything else like that and slap it back in. It's really not that complicated. So look to find ways to reduce expenses in your life by doing things yourself. Um, you are smarter than you give yourself credit, I guarantee. And with this beautiful invention of YouTube, just about any problem that comes up, you can go on YouTube and find a resolution or a working solution for it. So yeah, be frugal in those regards. And maybe not you're not mechanically inclined, but maybe you're a whiz at accounting and stuff. Well, use that to your strength and really take advantage of that skill to dial in your expenses and maybe find ways to move yourself into the black instead of the red. I was gifted with a kind of a jack of all trades type of thing. I'm not really good at not anything, but I'm good enough to get you by on most things. Um, so, and like I said, just conserve, 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 because once you're out of the race, you're not going to want to go back. And I don't have a problem wearing sneakers that are 20 years old. I've done it. Um, and it's that kind of mentality that will stretch your dollar through. So really dial in your supplementary income. Get it nice and stable. Get it to the point where you think you can live, and then you're really close to making your leap. And I really want to include um, another important part of it all. You're going to have setbacks, obviously. If you've lived any type of life at all, you realize setbacks is just a part of life. It's unfortunate, and some are greater than others. Some setbacks actually open doors and opportunities, and others crush and defeat us. But be prepared for setbacks, and be prepared to backstep. And I'll give you an example. We left for Maine, and Julie and I didn't plan on working again. We were going to do things on our property to generate income. We had our rental income. So we really believed that we could manage it without working, and we did for some time. But when an opportunity arose for Julia to take a job with the town, she did. It was a part-time job. It was like, an eighth of a mile up the road. She could walk to it, and it was working in the town's municipal building. We lived with a town of less than 400 people, so it was a pretty low-key job. When I got there in May, I actually joined the local volunteer fire department, and from where I come from in Western New York, the volunteers never got paid. So I thought that's what I was doing. I thought I was just stepping into a volunteer job, and that's another one of the great benefits about leaving the rat race. It frees up your time to give back to the community. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was like, I'm not just going to sit on my butt. I want to do something. So I joined the fire department, and I'm there about a month or so, and I'm talking with one of the guys, and he starts telling me about how he gets paid at the end of the year and how he uses it to buy his wife a Christmas gift or whatever. And I'm like, excuse me, say that again. And I had no idea I was being paid as an on-call firefighter for like $12 an hour or something. I had no idea, and only because they pay you at the end of the year. So come the end of the year, lo and behold, I got a check for like $500, and it was enough for us to have a little extra for Christmas and stuff. But so little things like that will arise. Ultimately, I needed that income, and I went even a step further, and I ran to be selectman for the community, and I worked on the select board, and I generated some income from that as well. But working right there in town, right down the road, if I had to take another, that was a step back for us for a time. We both did it for about 3 years, and but it bridged us through a rough period, and it allowed us to keep facilitating how we wanted to live, and it was terribly fulfilling. You know, if you are afforded an opportunity to live without being in this rat race, find a way to give back, because our world is struggling so much, and the struggle is all around us in every way. Um, I'm so grateful that I joined that fire department and I was able to help those men and women, just a small group of them, and they were taking on incredible responsibilities, and I was never been more prouder in my life to be a part of that group of men and women, and to call myself a firefighter and an EMT for some time. It was really an eye-opening experience. But so don't let those setbacks destroy you. Anticipate that you're going to have them. Anticipate how you might react to them. Um, don't be afraid to just go out into the job market and get something for a couple months at a time. There's nothing wrong with that. If Christmas is coming and you feel you're short on money, go back into the job market for a couple months and make a little extra cash. You're still not in the rat race. You're still out there doing it how you want to do it. So I just wanted to add that in there, because I think it's very poignant, and I think it's very, very important to anticipate setbacks. Um, you're gonna have them. Well, and lastly, I'm over here by the goats. I just really want to emphasize this. Believe that you can do it, because you can. I think oftentimes we've become so soft as a civilization that as soon as we're faced with an obstacle, a challenge, whatever the case may be, we abandon, the mission, or abandon the task, or whatever the case may be. But if you have even the slightest bit of competence, you can pull this off. You really, really can. And I think it's how most civilizations were for a long, long time, probably until the 19th century or so. Everybody was out working for themselves, had their own incomes based on their households where they lived and whatnot, and they weren't working in big corporations and things like that. They just didn't exist yet. So we aren't the first ones doing this, and we won't be the last. But just really believe in yourself. When folks criticize you and say it can't be done, just shrug it off. I used to say, you can't do it. You can't see yourself doing it, so that's why you say it can't be done. But I can see myself doing it, and I will do it. And I used to be very, very frank and very honest like that with people, arguing with my brothers and stuff about it. But here I am, 46 years old, and we live on a farm, and we set out what to do, what we wanted to, right? And I'm blessed. I keep joking around that, almost as if I pulled this off and Julie and I pulled this off, or whatever the case may be. We did the work, but it was our faith in God, and our constant prayer with Him I know a lot of folks will get to this point and this is where they'll click off. But there's nothing wrong with having faith in something. And we have faith in God. We believe if we live close to how He teaches us to, and if we continue to thank Him for our blessings, He'll continue to bless us. And it's really that simple. I'm a sinner like you never would imagine, but I'm trying. I'm trying every day to be a better person, and I know God appreciates that. So, and believe me, when you're away from all that crap the world is throwing in your face, it's a lot easier to see God. It really is, in all His majesty, if you will, out here on our farm. So, really, take some of my suggestions to heart. Believe in yourself, and go out and do it. This is your life you're talking about. This is your life. Don't wait till you're 75 years old, 80 years old, your body's shot, your mind's shot, and say that I'm going to do this. Do it now. Do it with fire and passion, and don't accept anything else. Just go out and get it. Face the failures, face the obstacles. Just get on with it. It's doable. You'll have goats.